Claire Dawson learned to measure time in tiny emergencies. A shoe that vanished 5 minutes before school, a lunchbox left on the counter, a fever that rose at midnight like a bad thought. On the morning of February 14th, the world outside her apartment window looked calm. Chicago winter sun glinting off parked cars and the frozen edge of Lake Michigan. Inside, the Dawson apartment was a storm. "Mom, my heart pancakes!" Emma shouted from the kitchen, where she was flipping batter into a shape that looked more like a cloud. "Mine's a dinosaur heart," Noah announced, holding up a paper cutout with jagged edges. Liam, the quietest of the triplets, was working on a card at the table, tongue tucked into the corner of his mouth in fierce concentration. He had drawn a woman with curly hair and a bright smile, surrounded by 3 stick-figure kids. Above them he'd written, carefully, "I love you big as the sky." Claire's chest warmed in a way that made her eyes sting. 28 was not old, but single motherhood could make a person feel ancient some days. She set down a stack of clean laundry and smoothed Liam's hair. "That's perfect," she whispered. "Can we give you the gifts now?" Emma asked, bouncing. "In a minute," Claire said. "First, coats and boots. We're not missing the school Valentine's party." They moved like a practice team, Claire zipping, tying, corralling, the kids chattering about cupcakes and glitter and who was allowed to give a valentine to whom. Claire was halfway through searching for Noah's missing mitten when her phone buzzed on the counter. Unknown number. She frowned. Her phone never rang with unknown numbers again. Work messages came through the restaurant app. She wiped flour from her fingers and answered. "Hello." Silence, then a crisp male voice. "This is Carter Private Security. Am I speaking with Claire Dawson?" Her stomach tightened. "Yes." "Who is this about?" "We're confirming a call request. This number was entered into a secure corporate device. If you are not the intended party, say so now." Claire's mind jumped. Scam, mistake, something to do with the building. "I didn't enter anything into anyone's device," she said. "What are you talking about?" "Understood. Please hold." A click, and then another voice, deeper, unmistakably controlled. "Who is this?" the man asked. Claire froze. There are voices you don't recognize with your ears, but with your bones. It had been 4 years since she'd heard Ethan Carter speak her name, and yet the sound of him, low, steady, a practiced calm that could turn cold in an instant, slid under her skin like winter. This is Claire," she managed. A pause. "Claire who?" She swallowed. "Claire Dawson." For a beat, there was only the faint hum of an expensive office in the background, the kind of quiet that meant power. Then, "How did you get this number?" "I didn't," Claire said quickly. "You called me. Someone from your security." "Ethan." Emma called from the kitchen, loud and clear. "Mom, who is Ethan?" Claire's heart slammed. Her hand trembled so hard she nearly dropped the phone. Ethan's voice sharpened. "Did a child just say my name?" Claire turned her back to the kids, lowering her voice. "No. It's nothing. Wrong number." "Put me on speaker," Ethan ordered. "I can't," she whispered. "Please. This is a mistake." "Claire," he said, and the way he said it, like a command, like a claim, made her breath hitch. "Answer the question. Why is a child in your home?" Claire's vision blurred with anger so sudden it felt like heat. "Because I have children, Ethan. 3 of them." Silence. You're saying—" His composure cracked, just slightly, like a fracture in glass. "You have children." Claire stared at the wall, at the crooked frame she'd never had time to straighten. 4 years of shifts and diapers and scraped knees. 4 years of swallowing her pride and keeping her mouth shut. "Yes," she said. "Triplets." She heard him inhale, sharp, controlled, as if air had become expensive. "How old?" 4, Claire said. They'll be 5 in April. Another pause. Longer. When Ethan spoke again, his voice was quieter, dangerous in its restraint. "Where are you?" "I'm not telling you that," Claire said, voice shaking. "You don't get to appear now like some movie hero. You left." "I left because you vanished," Ethan snapped. "You changed your number. You wouldn't take my calls." Claire let out a bitter laugh. "I changed my number because your assistant told me you were unavailable indefinitely, and then someone mailed me a check like I was an invoice." "Who mailed?" Ethan started, then stopped. His breathing sounded different now, less even. "Claire, listen to me. Put the kids on the phone." "No," Claire said. "They don't even know who you are." A small hand tugged at her sweater. Liam's face was serious. "Mom, you look like you're gonna cry." Claire knelt, forcing a smile that felt like paper. "I'm okay, honey. Just go put your card in your backpack." Liam hesitated, then nodded and padded away. Ethan's voice came again, softer. "Claire, I can hear them. I can hear my—" He cut himself off. "I'm coming to you." Panic rose. "Don't," she said. "Ethan, don't do this. You can't just—" A sudden dizziness swarmed her. The room tilted. She had slept 3 hours. She hadn't eaten. Her chest tightened as if a fist had closed around her ribs. She pressed her palm to the counter, trying to steady herself. "Mom." Noah's voice sounded far away. "Mom, you're white." Claire tried to answer, but the words wouldn't form. The phone slipped, clattering to the floor. The sound was huge. Her knees buckled. "Mom!" Emma screamed. Claire heard Ethan's voice through the speaker, distorted but urgent. "Claire! Claire, answer me!" The last thing she saw was Liam's small face, wide-eyed with terror, reaching for her. Then the kitchen light fractured into sparks, and the world went dark. The darkness didn't swallow the apartment so much as it lifted away, leaving a ringing silence in its place. Emma's scream echoed off the kitchen tiles. Noah dropped to his knees beside Claire, shaking her shoulder with small, frantic hands. Liam stood frozen for half a second, then snatched the phone from the floor like it was a lifeline. "Hello," Liam said, voice thin. "Hello, sir. My mom fell." A man's voice poured through the speaker, deep, sharp with panic. "Is she conscious? Tell me if she's breathing." Liam blinked fast, trying to remember what teachers said during safety drills. He pressed 2 fingers to Claire's neck the way he'd seen on cartoons, then looked at her chest. "She's breathing," he said. "But her eyes are closed." "Good," the man said. "You need to call 911 now." Emma grabbed the phone. "What's 911? Noah's face crumpled. "Are we in trouble?" "No," the voice said, suddenly gentler, as if he'd realized 3 children were hanging onto every syllable. "No one is in trouble. You're doing the right thing. Is there an adult neighbor you can get?" Emma sobbed. "Mrs. Parker. She has a cat." "Go to the door," the man instructed. "If you can, unlock it. Then knock hard on your neighbor's door and say your mom needs help." Liam put the phone down on the table, hands shaking, and dragged a chair to the deadbolt. He climbed carefully, tongue between his teeth again, and slid the lock. Noah pounded on the hallway wall with his fist, because it felt like the fastest way to break reality. "Mrs. Parker," Emma yelled, voice cracking. "Please, please come." The apartment door opened with a squeal, and Mrs. Parker's slippers appeared first, then her round face with worry carved into it. "Oh my goodness, Claire." "She fell," Liam said. His eyes shone, but he refused to cry. "She won't wake up." Mrs. Parker moved fast for someone who always complained about her knees. She knelt, checked Claire's pulse with practiced ease that suggested she'd once been a nurse, and looked up. "Call 911, she snapped, already reaching for her own phone. Emma pointed at the table. "We have a man on the phone." Mrs. Parker's gaze flicked to the device, and she hit speaker on her phone while relaying the address to the dispatcher. Yes, she's breathing. Late 20s. She collapsed. No drugs. She's a waitress. She barely sleeps. Her eyes softened briefly as she watched the triplets tremble. 3 kids, yes. They're safe. On the table, the other phone crackled. This is Ethan Carter, the man said. Tell me where you are. Mrs. Parker froze. Excuse me. Ma'am, Ethan said, voice clipped with authority. Where is Claire Dawson right now? Mrs. Parker's suspicion rose like a shield. Who are you to her? A pause. I'm her family, he said, and the lie, or the truth, hung in the air. Mrs. Parker's mouth tightened. If you're family, why is she collapsing alone with 3 children? Ethan didn't answer. Instead, his voice shifted, barking orders to someone off phone. Trace the number. Pull location data. Get my driver. Tell the jet to stand by. And get me the nearest hospital with a trauma bay. Liam stared at the phone as if it might grow arms and lift his mom up. Are you the dad? He asked, words tumbling out before he could stop them. Silence. Then Ethan's voice, roar. Who is this? My name is Liam, Liam said. We're triplets. I'm Liam. That's Emma and Noah. Mom says we're her whole world. A sound like a strangled breath came through the speaker. Liam, Ethan repeated, as if tasting the name. Listen to me. Help is coming. Stay with your mother. Do you understand? Yes, Liam whispered. Outside, the distant wail of a siren rose and fell, growing louder. Emma clung to Noah, both shaking in their socks and puffy coats that were still unzipped. Mrs. Parker ushered them away from Claire's limp body, but they fought to stay close, tiny hands reaching for her fingers. Mom, Emma cried, pressing her forehead to Claire's knuckles. Wake up, it's Valentine's. The paramedics arrived in a rush of boots and equipment. They filled the apartment with brisk voices, questions, and the plastic smell of medical supplies. One of them, a woman with kind eyes, crouched to the triplets' level. Hey there, she said gently. We're going to help your mom. Can you tell me her name? Claire Dawson, Liam answered automatically, because if he kept talking, he wouldn't fall apart. And any allergies? Liam shook his head. She's allergic to lies, Noah blurted, and then he started to sob, the control finally snapping. The paramedics slid Claire onto a stretcher. Her face looked smaller, paler, like someone had turned down the color on her. Emma tried to climb onto the stretcher too, and Mrs. Parker caught her. You can come to the hospital, the kind-eyed paramedic said, but you need an adult to ride with you. Mrs. Parker nodded. I'm coming. As they moved into the hallway, Ethan's voice crackled again from the phone Liam had carried, now held tightly like a talisman. Which hospital? Ethan demanded. Mrs. Parker glanced at the paramedic's badge. They're taking her to Mercy General. Ethan's response was immediate. Keep her there. Don't let them transfer her. I'm on my way. Mrs. Parker's eyes narrowed. Sir, if you're not listed as emergency contact. I will be, Ethan said, and the certainty in his tone was frightening. I'm sending my legal team. I'm sending my doctor. I'm sending everything. The ambulance doors slammed. The triplets were buckled into seats, their legs dangling, shoes swinging. Liam pressed his palm to the window as the city slid past, blurred by motion and tears he refused to shed. At Mercy General, fluorescent lights replaced winter sun. Nurses moved like machines, efficient and impatient. Insurance? One asked Mrs. Parker the moment they arrived. Mrs. Parker fumbled for Claire's wallet. She has state coverage, she said, already bracing. The nurse's mouth tightened. We'll see what we can do. Emma heard it. She heard the tone that meant less. She climbed onto a plastic chair and hugged her knees. They don't like us, she whispered. Noah sniffed. Because we're not rich. Liam stared down the corridor where Claire's stretcher disappeared. His small face hardened into something older than 4. Someone is coming, he said. The dad. Ethan. Mrs. Parker looked at him sharply. Did she ever mention that name? Liam shook his head. No. But his voice sounded like, like a door closing. In the waiting area, time stretched into cruel shapes. Monitors beeped somewhere behind walls. A social worker arrived, clipboard in hand, eyes assessing. "Who are you to the children?" she asked Mrs. Parker. "I'm their neighbor," Mrs. Parker said tightly. "And their mother is in there." The social worker's lips pressed together. "If their mother is incapacitated, we may need to." The automatic doors whooshed open with sudden force, and the entire hallway seemed to change temperature. Men in dark suits entered first, scanning, clearing space. Behind them walked a tall man in a charcoal coat that probably cost more than Claire's monthly rent, his jaw clenched, his eyes burning with something that looked like fear. Ethan Carter had arrived. Ethan Carter did not walk into Mercy General Hospital so much as bend the space around him. Nurses paused mid-stride. Conversations softened. The two men flanking him scanned every corner with military precision, while a third spoke quietly into his sleeve, relaying updates like a battlefield report. Liam spotted him first. "That's him," he whispered, standing on the plastic chair. "That's the voice." Emma followed his gaze. The man was tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a dark coat that hung perfectly like it had been tailored onto him. His hair was neatly combed, but his face looked wrong, not polished, not calm. It was tight with worry. Noah hid behind Emma's arm. "He looks like a movie bad guy." Ethan's eyes swept the waiting room, past elderly couples, past a crying teenager, past Mrs. Parker, and then locked onto the three children. Something inside him shattered. They were Claire's eyes. Emma had her curls. Noah had his jaw. Liam had his posture, that straight-back seriousness Ethan recognized from mirrors. His breath hitched. "My God," he whispered. The men beside him slowed as Ethan stepped forward alone. Liam slid off the chair slowly. His legs trembled, but he didn't retreat. He stood like a tiny guard in front of Emma and Noah. "You're Ethan," Liam said. "Yes," Ethan croaked. "I'm Ethan. You're the dad?" Emma asked, eyes huge. Ethan knelt instantly, coat pooling around his knees like a fallen cape. "I believe I am." Noah burst into tears. "Then why didn't you come before?" The question sliced deeper than any accusation. "I didn't know," Ethan said honestly, voice breaking. "I swear I didn't know." Mrs. Parker stood. "Sir, if you are who I think you are, this isn't a movie. Their mother collapsed this morning. The hospital is already talking about insurance." Ethan rose slowly, rage replacing shock. "Take me to her," he ordered. A nurse hurried forward, flustered. "Sir, only family is allowed back." "I am her family," Ethan said quietly. The authority in his tone stopped the hallway. "And if there is any problem," he added, "my medical director is already en route, and Mercy General will never worry about funding again." The nurse swallowed. "This way." They moved fast. Glass doors opened. Machines beeped in uneven rhythm. Claire lay pale on the hospital bed, for in her arm, oxygen tube beneath her nose. Ethan stopped at the doorway. For a moment, the billionaire who negotiated billion-dollar mergers couldn't move his feet. Claire looked smaller than he remembered. Tired. Fragile. Real. He stepped forward slowly, like approaching something sacred. "Claire," he whispered. Her eyelids fluttered. "Nothing." Ethan took her hand. It was cold. His throat tightened violently. "I'm here," he said. "I should have been here 4 years ago." A doctor approached. "Sir, are you?" "I'm Ethan Carter." Recognition flashed instantly. "We stabilized her," the doctor said carefully. "Severe exhaustion, dehydration, and a cardiac stress episode. She's lucky her children acted fast." Ethan closed his eyes. Lucky wasn't the word. "They need rest," the doctor continued. "But there's also concern about long-term strain. Her workload, financial stress." "That ends today," Ethan said flatly. The doctor hesitated. "Sir." "She will never work herself into a hospital bed again." Behind him, Emma peeked around the door. "Mom," she whispered. Claire stirred. Her lashes trembled. Slowly, painfully, her eyes opened. Confusion clouded them. White lights. Machines. And then, Ethan. Her breath caught violently. No, she whispered hoarsely. I'm dreaming. Ethan leaned closer. You're not. Tears filled her eyes instantly. Go away. The words hurt, but he deserved worse. You weren't supposed to find us, she said weakly. This wasn't how. Claire, he said gently, you collapsed. Your children saved you. And they found me. Her eyes darted to the doorway. 3 small faces stared back at her, terrified, hopeful, shaking. Babies, she whispered. Emma rushed forward, grabbing her hand. Mom, don't sleep again. Please. Claire sobbed. Ethan stepped back, giving them space, watching a family moment he'd missed for years. When Claire finally looked back at him, anger replaced fear. You don't get to stand there like a hero, she rasped. You left. I tried to stay, Ethan said firmly. You disappeared. You sent money like I was a problem. I sent money because your assistant told me you wanted nothing else. Silence snapped between them. What assistant? Claire whispered. Ethan's jaw tightened. Madeline, he said. Claire stiffened. His former executive assistant. The woman who'd always watched Claire with thin smiles. She told me you were engaged, Claire said. Ethan stared. I never was. She mailed me a check with a note saying you were moving on. His face darkened. I never sent that. A heavy truth settled between them. Someone had lied. Deliberately. The doctor cleared his throat awkwardly. We can discuss personal matters later. She needs rest. Ethan nodded sharply. Move her to a private suite, he ordered. The doctor hesitated. Sir, availability. Make availability. Within minutes, staff rushed like ants responding to a storm. Claire was transferred to a quiet, sunlit room with leather chairs and a couch. The triplets stared in awe. This is like a hotel, Noah whispered. Ethan crouched again. Listen to me, he said softly. No matter what happens between your mother and me, you are safe now. I promise. Liam studied him carefully. Are you gonna disappear again? Ethan met his gaze fully. Never, he said. Not for the rest of my life. Claire closed her eyes, exhausted tears slipping down her cheeks. Because deep down, she knew. The storm that had been coming for 4 years had finally arrived. And nothing would ever be simple again. The private hospital suite was too quiet. It didn't have the restless chaos of the emergency ward, only the soft hum of hidden machines and the distant echo of footsteps in carpeted halls. Sunlight filtered through tall windows, warming the leather couch where Emma and Noah sat swinging their legs, while Liam stood beside Claire's bed like a tiny soldier on duty. Ethan remained near the door. Not because he wanted distance, but because he knew he didn't deserve closeness yet. Claire stared at the ceiling for a long time before finally speaking. So this is what rich people hospitals look like, she murmured. Ethan flinched. Claire. She turned her head slowly. Her eyes weren't soft anymore. They were sharp with years of swallowed pain. You don't get to fix everything with money, she said. Not this. I'm not trying to buy forgiveness, Ethan replied quietly. I'm trying to protect you. You could have protected us 4 years ago. The words fell heavy. Emma looked between them nervously. Mom, are you mad at him forever? Claire's expression softened instantly. No, baby. Grown-up problems. But he made you cry, Noah said, frowning. Ethan crouched to their level again. I did, he said honestly. And I'm sorry. Liam watched closely. Sorry like you won't do it again, sorry? Yes, Ethan said. That kind. Liam nodded slowly. Okay. Trust, thin as glass, but there. Claire exhaled shakily. You see, she whispered to Ethan. They forgive easier than adults. I don't expect forgiveness, Ethan said. I expect accountability. She studied him. That's new. Because I lost 4 years, he said quietly. I'm not losing another second. Silence hung between them. Finally Claire spoke again, her voice low. Madeline told me you were done with me. Ethan's jaw tightened. She told me you didn't want me. She said you were embarrassed by a poor waitress." "I never said that," Ethan snapped, then forced himself to breathe. "I loved you, Claire." Her eyes shimmered. Then why was she controlling everything between us? Ethan looked away toward the window. "Because I was a coward," he admitted. "I let my assistant manage my personal life. I trusted her." "Trust destroyed us," Claire whispered. "Yes," Ethan said. "And I will never make that mistake again." The door opened softly. A woman in a crisp suit entered carrying a tablet. "Mr. Carter, your medical director is on line 1. And your legal counsel has arrived." "Give me a moment," Ethan said. She nodded and left. Claire laughed bitterly. "Your world never stops, does it?" "No," Ethan said. "But it can wait." She looked surprised. "You are more important," he added simply. Another silence. Different now. "He never even saw you," Claire said suddenly, gesturing toward the triplets. "Not once. I hid every photo online. I moved apartments. I thought if you never knew, you couldn't take them." Ethan's heart twisted. "You thought I would take them?" "You're a billionaire," she whispered. "I was nobody." "You were everything," he said fiercely. "You still are." Tears slid down her face. "Don't," she whispered. "Don't say things that make me hope." "Hope is the only thing that kept me breathing today," Ethan said. Liam cleared his throat seriously. "Mom." "Yes, sweetheart." "Is Ethan going to live with us?" Claire froze. Emma gasped. "Like a dad." Noah smiled shyly. Ethan's chest tightened violently. "I don't know yet," Claire said carefully. "But I want to," Ethan said gently. "If your mom lets me earn it." Liam considered. "You can sleep on the couch first." Ethan laughed through tears. "Deal." Claire covered her mouth, overwhelmed. For the first time since waking up, she smiled. But it didn't last. A knock sounded. The social worker from earlier stepped inside, clipboard in hand. "Ms. Dawson," she said gently, "we need to discuss guardianship contingency." Claire's stomach dropped. "What does that mean?" "In case of another medical emergency," the woman explained, "we must identify a legal caregiver." Ethan stepped forward instantly. "I'm their father." The social worker's eyes sharpened. "Is there documentation?" "No," Ethan admitted. "But I will provide DNA confirmation immediately." Claire stiffened. "You're not just claiming them." "I'm not claiming," Ethan said softly. "I'm committing." The social worker nodded. "Until proof is verified, temporary custody remains with the mother. But if she is deemed unfit—" "I am fit," Claire snapped. "Of course," the woman said quickly. "But hospital protocol requires review." Fear flashed across the children's faces. "You're not taking us," Emma cried, gripping Claire's arm. "No one is taking you," Ethan said firmly, his billionaire steel surfacing. "Not now. Not ever." The social worker swallowed. "I will assign the best family advocate in the state," Ethan continued, "and fund any support necessary." The woman nodded nervously. "Very well." She left quickly. The room felt colder. "They think I'm a bad mom," Claire whispered. "They think you're exhausted," Ethan said. "And they're not wrong." She wiped her tears angrily. "I did everything alone." "You shouldn't have had to," he said. Claire met his gaze. "Then prove it," she said. "I will," Ethan vowed. That night, as the triplets finally slept curled together on the couch under hospital blankets, Claire watched them breathe. Ethan stood beside her quietly. "Old rules broke us," she whispered. He nodded. "New rules," he said. "Total honesty. No assistance between us. No secrets. No disappearing. And no money solutions," she added. "Only responsibility," he agreed. Claire took a shaky breath. "Ethan," she said softly, "if I let you back in, you don't get to leave when it's hard." He placed his hand over his heart. "I stayed away 4 years," he said. "I'll spend the rest of my life making it right." Outside the window, the city lights flickered like second chances. But neither of them knew yet. The woman who tore them apart was about to return. And she wasn't finished destroying lives. Morning crept into the hospital suite like a careful apology, pale sunlight brushing across the carpet and the curled shapes of 3 sleeping children. Emma's hair was a wild halo against Noah's shoulder, while Liam lay stiff on his back like he'd volunteered for guard duty even in dreams. Claire hadn't slept. Neither had Ethan. They sat across from each other in matching chairs, cups of untouched coffee cooling between them, both listening to the rhythmic beeping of Claire's monitor. "I keep replaying it," Claire whispered. "Every conversation. Every message. Trying to figure out where it went wrong." Ethan rubbed his jaw. "It didn't go wrong. It was steered wrong." Her eyes lifted sharply. "My legal team pulled archived company emails last night," Ethan said quietly. "Madeline deleted most of them, but servers don't forget." He slid his phone across the table. On the screen were forwarded messages. From Madeline Rowe to Claire Dawson. "Mr. Carter has decided to move forward with other priorities. Please respect his privacy." Claire's breath hitched. "I thought that was from you." "It wasn't," Ethan said darkly. Another message appeared. From Madeline Rowe to Ethan Carter. "Ms. Dawson requested no further contact. She has chosen to move on and does not wish to involve you in her pregnancy." Claire gasped. "I never wrote that." "I know." Ethan's voice shook. "She forged emotional boundaries on both sides," he continued. "Blocked numbers. Redirected mail. Every attempt I made to reach you went through her." Tears streamed down Claire's cheeks. "She destroyed us," she whispered. "Yes," Ethan said. "On purpose." "Why?" Claire cried. Ethan's jaw hardened. "Because she loved me. Or the life beside me." Silence swallowed the room. Liam stirred. "Mom," he mumbled sleepily. Claire wiped her face fast. "I'm here, sweetheart." He blinked, noticed Ethan, and relaxed again. "Okay." Ethan's heart cracked all over again. "I fired Madeline at midnight," Ethan said. "Security escorted her out." Claire nodded weakly. "That won't stop her," Ethan added, as if summoned by those words. A sharp knock hit the door. Ethan stood immediately. A nurse peeked in nervously. "Mr. Carter, there's a woman demanding to see you. She says it's urgent." Ethan's eyes darkened. "Madeline," he said. Claire's blood ran cold. "She found us." "She always finds leverage," Ethan replied. "I want to see her," Claire said suddenly. Ethan hesitated. "Claire." "I deserve to," she said firmly. "She took 4 years of my life." Ethan nodded once. "Bring her." Moments later, Madeline Rowe swept into the room in a cream blazer and heels too sharp for a hospital floor. Her blonde hair was flawless. Her lips curved into a practiced smile that vanished when she saw Claire awake. "Well," Madeline said lightly, "you're alive." Emma sat up instantly. "Mom, who's that lady?" "The reason Daddy didn't come," Noah said bluntly. Madeline stiffened. "Children shouldn't be in adult conversations," she snapped. Ethan stepped forward like a wall. "Watch your tone." Madeline scoffed. "So this is the waitress who trapped you with babies." Claire's hand trembled, but she lifted her chin. "They're not traps," Claire said softly. "They're miracles." Madeline laughed cruelly. "You really think you belong in Ethan's world? You collapse from exhaustion while he runs corporations." "And you lied while I raised them alone," Claire shot back. Madeline turned sharply. "I protected Ethan from scandal." "You protected yourself from losing power," Ethan roared. Madeline's eyes flashed. "I built your empire alongside you." "You destroyed my family," Ethan snapped. "Get out." Madeline stepped closer to Claire instead. "Do you know how many women tried to get pregnant by him?" she hissed. "I stopped them all." Claire stared in horror. "You admitted to sabotaging lives," Ethan said coldly. Madeline shrugged. "Someone had to protect his image." Emma burst into tears. "You're mean," Noah shouted. "You made my mom sick." Liam stepped forward bravely. "You're not allowed near us." Madeline sneered. You little. Enough, Ethan thundered. Security appeared instantly. Madeline laughed wildly. You think this ends here? The media will love this story. Billionaire secret children. Poor single mom. Hospital collapse. Ethan leaned in close, voice deadly calm. Leak a single word, he whispered, and you'll spend the rest of your life in court. Madeline paled. You forged documents, intercepted communications, manipulated corporate systems, Ethan continued. That's fraud. And obstruction. Security grabbed her arms. This isn't over, she screamed as she was dragged out. But her voice faded down the hall. Silence returned. Emma sniffled. Mom, the bad lady is gone? Yes, baby, Claire said, hugging her tight. She's gone. Ethan exhaled deeply, years of weight falling off his chest. I'm so sorry, he whispered. For every night you cried alone. Claire placed her hand over his. Now you know, she said. And now you fight for us. I will, Ethan vowed. Outside, reporters were already gathering. Because Madeline hadn't come just to threaten. She had tipped someone off. And the world was about to discover Ethan Carter's secret family. The first camera flash went off before Ethan even reached the hallway. By the time the elevator doors slid open, the entire lobby of Mercy General had transformed into a storm of microphones, bright lights, and shouting voices. Mr. Carter, is it true you have secret children? Did you abandon a waitress? Was this woman paid to stay silent? Claire froze. Her hand tightened around Emma's shoulder while Noah pressed his face into her sweater. Liam stood stiff again, eyes scanning like a tiny protector. Ethan stepped in front of them instantly. No photos of the children, he said sharply. The reporters surged closer. Are they yours, sir? Is this a scandal cover-up? Ethan's jaw clenched. It's not a scandal, he said coldly. It's my family. That single sentence hit the news cycle like an explosion. Phones rang. Tweets flew. Headlines wrote themselves. Billionaire CEO hides 3 children, waitress collapses. Secret family revealed power, money, and abandonment. Security pushed through the crowd as hospital administrators begged for calm. Inside the private elevator, Claire shook. They're going to ruin us, she whispered. They won't touch you, Ethan said firmly. I won't allow it. You can't control the world, she said weakly. No, Ethan said. But I can face it. Back in the suite, chaos followed. Ethan's lawyers arrived. Public relations teams flooded in. Doctors hovered. And then, Child Protective Services. The social worker from before returned with another woman in a gray suit. Ms. Dawson, the woman said gently, due to media attention and medical stress, we must temporarily review child placement. Claire's heart stopped. You're not taking them, she cried. It's protocol, the woman insisted. Until safety is confirmed. Ethan stepped forward dangerously calm. My children are not being removed. Sir, without legal paternity. I will have it within hours, Ethan snapped. The woman hesitated. Even so, high-profile exposure creates risk. Liam suddenly spoke. We're safe with Mom, he said clearly. And with Ethan. Everyone froze. You don't know him well, the woman said softly. I know his voice, Liam said. He came when Mom fell. That means he loves us. Emma nodded fiercely. He protected us from the mean lady. Noah added quietly. He promised not to leave. The room went silent. The social workers exchanged glances. Ethan swallowed hard. I will resign, he said suddenly. Claire stared. What? I will step down from my company today, Ethan continued calmly. If that removes media pressure, I'll do it. His lawyers gasped. Ethan, that's billions. My children are priceless, he said. The CPS woman's eyes softened. That level of commitment changes things, she said quietly. Claire whispered, You don't have to destroy your life. My life was empty without them, he replied. Outside, reporters screamed louder. Inside, something shifted. Ethan signed temporary guardianship documents within minutes. DNA testing was arranged immediately. The children remained with Claire. Crisis paused, but not gone. Later that afternoon, Ethan stood alone in front of the press. Cameras clicked like insects. "Yes," he said clearly. "I am the father of Claire Dawson's triplets." Gasps rippled. "I did not abandon them knowingly. My former assistant manipulated communication between us for years." Murmurs erupted. "I take full responsibility for not discovering the truth sooner," Ethan continued. "But from this moment on, my children will never lack presence, protection, or love." "Are you stepping down as CEO?" a reporter shouted. Ethan nodded once. "Yes." Shockwaves exploded. Stocks immediately dipped. But Ethan didn't flinch. "My legacy will not be built on profit alone," he said. "It will be built on fatherhood." That night, the triplets watched him on TV from the hospital bed. "That's our dad," Emma whispered proudly. Liam nodded slowly. "He chose us." Claire's tears fell freely. When Ethan returned to the room, exhausted, she stood and hugged him tightly. "You gave up everything," she whispered. "I finally gained everything," he replied. "But across the city." Madeline watched the broadcast from a luxury apartment, eyes burning. "He thinks he's won," she hissed. She picked up her phone. "I want every record leaked," she said coldly. "Old emails, business deals, anything to destroy him." Because she wasn't done. And the next attack wouldn't target Ethan. It would target Claire. The first lie hit the internet before sunrise. Claire woke to her phone buzzing non-stop on the hospital nightstand. Messages stacked faster than she could read them. "Did you really blackmail him? How much did he pay you to stay quiet? Gold digger exposed." Her heart slammed. She opened a news alert. Inside the secret family scandal, sources claim single mother demanded payout from billionaire CEO. Below it, a blurry photo of her leaving the restaurant years ago. Claire's breath came shallow. "No," she whispered. Ethan stirred beside the couch. "What's wrong?" She turned the screen toward him. His face hardened instantly. "She's attacking you." Within minutes, more stories flooded in. Former waitress, trapped, CEO with pregnancy texts suggest payoff agreement. "They're fake," Claire cried. "I never asked for money." "I know," Ethan said fiercely. "Madeline is forging everything." The door burst open. His legal team rushed in. "She leaked altered documents," one lawyer said. "We're tracing digital signatures." "But public opinion is shifting fast," another added. Emma tugged Claire's sleeve. "Mom, why are people being mean?" Claire forced a smile through tears. "Grown-ups lie sometimes, baby." But the lies were working. Outside the hospital, protesters gathered. "Gold digger!" someone screamed. "Give the kids to their father." CPS arrived again that afternoon. This time their faces were serious. "Ms. Dawson," the supervisor said carefully, "we must reassess placement due to public risk and allegations of manipulation." Claire's knees weakened. "You can't believe this," she pleaded. "Until evidence clears," the woman said softly, "we have to consider temporary removal." "No," Emma cried. Noah wrapped his arms around Claire's waist. "Don't take us." Liam stepped in front of them again, shaking but brave. "You're wrong," he said. "My mom saved us every day." The supervisor hesitated. Ethan moved forward, voice steady. "You remove my children, and I will take this to federal court." "Sir, I stepped down from my empire for them," Ethan said. "I will burn the rest if I have to." The room vibrated with tension. Claire whispered, "Ethan, please don't." "I will never let them be taken," he said. The CPS supervisor finally exhaled. "We will postpone removal pending forensic verification." Relief crashed through Claire's body. But the storm wasn't over. That evening, a former co-worker of Claire's appeared on TV claiming Claire had bragged about locking down a rich man. Claire watched in horror. "She's lying," she whispered. Ethan clenched his fists. "Madeline paid her." Another news alert appeared. Source: CEO's secret children may have been used for financial gain. Claire broke down sobbing. I can't protect them from this world. Ethan knelt in front of her. You protected them when you had nothing, he said. Now I have everything. But your reputation. I don't care. He took her shaking hands. Claire, look at me, he said firmly. This ends tonight. How? I will tell the truth publicly. All of it. That night, Ethan called an emergency press conference. The room overflowed. Cameras rolled live. My former assistant Madeline Rowe manipulated communication between myself and Claire Dawson, Ethan announced. She forged documents that were leaked today. Gasps erupted. My legal team has forensic proof, he continued, screens behind him displaying digital signatures and timestamps. Madeline's name flashed in bold red. She will be charged with fraud, obstruction, and defamation. Reporters exploded with questions. And Claire Dawson? Someone shouted. Ethan's voice softened. She is the strongest woman I know. She raised 3 children alone without asking for a penny. The crowd quieted. She collapsed from exhaustion while doing the work of 2 parents, he said. Anyone calling her a gold digger has never carried groceries on 1 paycheck. Tears filled eyes across the room. But the final blow came when Ethan held up his phone. I have recordings. Madeline's voice played. I intercepted her messages. I made sure he never saw the pregnancy. He would have chosen her every time. The room erupted. That was it. The narrative shattered. Within minutes, headlines flipped. Assistant exposed. Secret family sabotaged waitress mother cleared of all lies. Claire watched from the hospital bed, shaking with relief. They believe you now, Ethan whispered. Liam smiled softly. Told you truth wins. Emma cheered. Mom's a hero. Noah hugged everyone at once. But while the world celebrated the truth, Madeline was being arrested. Handcuffs clicked around her wrists as she screamed. This isn't over. But it was. Or so everyone thought. Because one last secret still hadn't surfaced. And when it did, it would change everything about Ethan's past. The world turned quiet after the storm. For the first time in days, Claire's phone didn't buzz with accusations. Instead, messages of support flooded in, strangers calling her brave, mothers sharing stories of exhaustion, nurses leaving hearts in the comments beneath the broadcast clips. The triplets sat cross-legged on the hospital couch, watching cartoons like nothing had happened. Normal felt unreal. Ethan stood by the window staring at the skyline, hands in his pockets, shoulders finally sagging from the weight he'd carried for years. We survived, Claire whispered. For now, he replied softly. A knock came. One of Ethan's lawyers entered slowly, face pale. Ethan, we uncovered something else. Ethan turned sharply. About Madeline? Yes. But it goes further back. Claire felt a chill. What do you mean further? The lawyer hesitated. Madeline wasn't acting alone. She manipulated information years ago, but she also covered up an internal investigation. Ethan's jaw tightened. Investigation into what? Your father's company. Silence slammed down. Ethan swallowed hard. My father died believing his business was clean. It wasn't, the lawyer said gently. Claire's breath caught. Madeline altered records that linked a senior executive, a man your father trusted, to massive embezzlement, the lawyer continued. When your father started getting close to the truth, evidence was erased. Ethan's hands shook. Who was the executive? He whispered. The lawyer met his eyes. Your uncle, Richard Carter. The name hit like a gunshot. My uncle raised me after my father died, Ethan said hoarsely. He taught me business. He also stole millions, the lawyer said. And Madeline helped bury it. Claire covered her mouth. All these years, Ethan whispered. My father thought the company was safe, and I inherited a lie. Worse, the lawyer said softly. Richard was the one who hired Madeline. The room spun. So she was planted, Claire whispered. Yes. Ethan staggered back into a chair. Everything, my broken family, my lost children, my father's ruined legacy, all because of them. Liam looked up from the couch. "Ethan, are you sick?" Ethan forced a smile. "Just tired, buddy." But inside he was breaking. The lawyer continued carefully. "Richard's name never surfaced because Madeline rerouted all internal alerts away from you." "So my own blood betrayed me," Ethan said bitterly. "Yes. Is he still stealing?" "No," the lawyer said. "He retired rich." Ethan closed his eyes. "Then he got away with it." "Not anymore," the lawyer said quietly. "The evidence is airtight now." Ethan opened his eyes, fire burning in them. "Have him arrested." Claire touched his hand. "Ethan." "My father died thinking he failed," Ethan said through clenched teeth. "And my children almost grew up without me because of these people." The lawyer nodded. "Authorities are already moving." That evening, news broke again. Former Carter executive arrested in massive fraud scheme connection to assistant who sabotaged CEO's family revealed. The world watched another empire of lies fall. But inside the hospital suite, the victory felt hollow. Ethan sat alone, staring at his reflection in the dark window. "They stole my past," he whispered. Claire joined him. "But you still have your future," she said gently. "With you," he said. "And with them," she smiled, glancing at the children. Liam walked over quietly. "Are bad guys always close?" he asked. "Sometimes," Ethan said softly. "But good people win." Liam nodded seriously. "Then we're winning now." Ethan laughed weakly. Later that night, the doctor cleared Claire for discharge within 2 days. "You need rest," she insisted. "Real rest." Ethan didn't hesitate. "You're coming to my house." Claire stiffened. "Ethan." "It's not a mansion takeover," he said gently. "It's just space. Safety. Help." She hesitated. "Just until you're stronger," he added. The kids overheard. "A big house." Emma squealed. "With stairs?" Noah asked. "With a yard?" Liam whispered. Ethan smiled softly. "All of it." Claire finally nodded slowly. "Temporary," she warned. "Temporary," he agreed, knowing it wouldn't be. But across town, in a police car, Madeline sat handcuffed, eyes wild. "They think Richard is the end," she muttered. A detective frowned. "What do you mean?" Madeline laughed darkly. "He was just the money man," she said. "Ethan doesn't even know the worst betrayal yet." The detective stiffened. "And what's that?" Madeline leaned closer. "Ask him about his mother." The call came just after midnight. Ethan had finally drifted into a shallow sleep on the hospital couch when his phone vibrated sharply against his palm. He answered before the second ring. "Yes." Detective Harris's voice came through low and tense. "Mr. Carter, we just got a statement from Madeline Rowe." "You need to hear this." Ethan sat upright instantly. "About what?" "About your mother." Ethan's heart slammed. "She died when I was 12. "That's not what Madeline claims," the detective said. Silence swallowed the line. "What do you mean, not what she claims?" Ethan whispered. "She says your mother didn't abandon the company during the illness like you were told," Harris continued. "She was forced out." Ethan's breath turned ragged. "By who?" "Your uncle." The room felt like it tilted. "She says Richard Carter framed your mother for financial misconduct, made it look like she was stealing," Harris said. "When your father believed it, your mother was pushed out of the company and cut off from you." "That's impossible," Ethan whispered. "My father said she left us." "That story was manufactured," Harris said gently. "Bank records show your mother's accounts were frozen. She tried to contact you dozens of times." Ethan's hands shook violently. "All of them intercepted," Harris continued. "By Madeline." Pain tore through Ethan's chest like a blade. "She was trying to reach me." "Yes. And I never answered." "No." Tears burned behind his eyes. "Where is she now?" Ethan whispered. Another pause. "She didn't disappear," Harris said softly. "She died 6 years ago. Cancer." Ethan's breath shattered. She spent her last years believing her son hated her. The words crushed him. Claire stirred across the room. "Ethan." He couldn't speak. "Ethan, what happened?" she whispered. He turned toward her slowly, face pale and broken. "They took my mother from me," he whispered. Claire rushed to him. "My uncle framed her," he choked. "And she died thinking I abandoned her." Claire wrapped him in her arms as his body shook. "I lost her twice," he sobbed. "Once when I was a boy. Once tonight." The triplets stirred from the couch. "Dad," Emma whispered sleepily. Ethan wiped his face fast. "I'm okay, baby," he said softly. "Just tired." But inside, grief burned like fire. The detective continued gently. "There's more." Ethan steadied himself. "Tell me. Your mother left you letters." "Dozens," Harris said. "Madeline kept them." Silence fell. "We recovered them tonight." Ethan closed his eyes. "Can I see them?" "Yes," Harris said. "Tomorrow morning." When the call ended, Ethan stared at the wall like it might swallow him. "They stole her love from me," he whispered. "But you didn't choose that," Claire said softly. "You were lied to." "I should have looked harder," he said brokenly. "You were a child," she said firmly. "They were monsters." He leaned into her, finally letting himself grieve. The next morning, the detective arrived with a box. Inside were envelopes, yellowed, worn, edges soft from being handled and hidden. Each addressed in a familiar script. "My Ethan." His hands trembled as he opened the first. "My sweet boy, if you are reading this, then maybe the lies are finally gone. I never left you. I was forced away. I love you more than every breath I take. I dream of your face every night." Tears dripped onto the paper. "Another letter. They tell me you won't speak to me. I don't believe them. A mother knows her child's heart." Another. "If I die before seeing you again, know that every decision I made was to protect you." Ethan collapsed into the chair. "She loved me," he whispered. Claire squeezed his hand. "She never stopped." Liam walked up quietly and hugged his leg. "It's okay to cry, Dad," he said seriously. Ethan lifted him into his arms, holding him tight. "I'll never hide love from you," Ethan whispered. "Ever." "I know," Liam said simply. Later that day, the news broke once more. Late Carter matriarch cleared. Son learns truth years later. Family betrayal spanned decades. The public mourned with him. But Ethan felt something else too. Release. Closure. The truth had finally freed the ghosts of his past. That evening, he stood by Claire's bed, calmer now. "I spent my life chasing success to fill holes lies created," he said quietly. "And now?" she asked. "Now I only want family," he said. Emma smiled. "We're good at family." Noah nodded enthusiastically. Liam added softly, "And truth." Ethan laughed through tears. "Yes," he said, "especially truth." But as peace settled, one final court hearing loomed. Because Madeline's actions had triggered a custody evaluation. And tomorrow would decide where the children would live permanently. The courtroom was quieter than any hospital room Ethan had ever stood in. No machines. No reporters allowed inside. Only wooden benches, a high judge's seat, and the soft echo of breathing. Claire sat stiffly beside Ethan, hands clasped so tightly her knuckles had gone white. Across the aisle, two CPS representatives arranged files neatly. Behind them sat a few observers, lawyers, advocates, and one empty chair where Madeline should have been, now occupied only by silence and shame. The triplets sat with Claire's sister, watching wide-eyed. Ethan leaned close. "No matter what happens," he whispered, "I'm not leaving." Claire nodded shakily. The judge entered. "All rise." The case was simple on paper and heavy in reality. Permanent custody determination of 3 minors. The CPS supervisor spoke first. "Our concern was never the mother's love," she said carefully. "It was exhaustion, financial strain, and sudden media risk." "And now?" the judge asked. "The risk has been mitigated. False allegations disproven. The father has demonstrated extraordinary commitment." Ethan's lawyer stood. Mr. Carter resigned a multi-billion-dollar position to prioritize his children, she said. He has established a trust ensuring lifelong security. More importantly, he has shown consistent presence since learning of their existence. The judge nodded slowly. "Ms. Dawson," he asked gently. Claire stood, knees trembling. "I never wanted wealth," she said softly. "I wanted peace. I wanted my kids safe. I wanted love to be enough." Her voice cracked. "I raised them alone because I thought I had to. If I'd known Ethan was being lied to, I would have fought harder." The judge's eyes softened. "And now?" "Now they have two parents who will fight together," Claire said. The courtroom was silent. The CPS supervisor cleared her throat. "After reviewing evidence, forensic proof, and the children's expressed wishes, we recommend full joint custody with primary residence shared." Tears sprang instantly to Claire's eyes. Ethan closed his briefly in relief. The judge smiled faintly. "I agree." The gavel tapped softly. Custody granted to both parents. Emma gasped loudly. Noah clapped before being shushed. Liam simply smiled. Claire collapsed into Ethan's arms, sobbing. "We did it," she whispered. "We're a family," he replied. Outside the courthouse, cameras waited, but Ethan bypassed them completely. For the first time, he didn't care about headlines. He cared about ice cream, bedtime stories, scraped knees, and morning chaos. That night, they arrived at Ethan's home. Not the mansion section, but the warm family wing he'd renovated quietly over the past days. Bedrooms with bunk beds. Toy shelves already filled. A kitchen that smelled like fresh cookies. "This is for us," Emma whispered. "For always," Ethan said. Noah ran through the hallway laughing. Liam touched the banister like it was real treasure. Claire stood frozen. "You prepared all this?" "I prepared for the life I should have had 4 years ago," Ethan said softly. Tears streamed down her face. Later, after baths and pajamas and giggles, the triplets piled onto the couch. "Movie night," Emma declared. Ethan wrapped an arm around Claire. For the first time in years, peace wrapped around her too. "You didn't just come back," she whispered. "You rebuilt everything." "I was given a second chance," he said. "I won't waste it." As the children drifted to sleep between them, Claire rested her head on his shoulder. "Do you regret losing your empire?" she asked quietly. He smiled. "I found my kingdom." Weeks later, Madeline was sentenced for fraud and obstruction. Richard Carter faced decades in prison. Justice finally closed every chapter of betrayal. But the best chapter wasn't in courtrooms. It was at breakfast tables, at school pickup, at bedtime prayers, at laughter. One evening, months later, Emma looked up seriously. "Mom." "Yes, sweetheart." "Valentine's Day is our lucky day." Claire smiled softly. "It is," Liam added, "because love found Dad." Noah nodded. "And Dad found us." Ethan pulled them all into his arms. "You saved me," he whispered. Claire met his eyes. "No," she said gently. "Truth did." Outside, the city lights glowed softly. Inside, a broken family had healed. And for the first time in years, everyone was home. Before you go, if this story touched your heart even a little, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Every week, we share emotional stories about love, betrayal, redemption, and second chances. Stories that remind us that kindness always finds its way back. New powerful stories uploaded regularly, real-life inspired emotional journeys from pain to healing, every time. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification so you never miss the next beautiful story. Your support helps us keep creating stories that move hearts around the world. Thank you for watching, and welcome to our story family.